Now, Storm Watch 12 weather with meteorologist Josh Culbreath.
This graphic behind me really paints the picture of really how our weather has been for the past week, but it really does a good job of painting the picture of how the weather is this morning, because we have clouds along the coast in the west side valleys, but elsewhere, and of course down in southern Siskiyou County near Mount Shasta City, there really hasn't been as much fog there as there has been up towards Weed and Wairika. But yeah, sunny skies on the east side, down in southern Siskiyou County. Elsewhere is still dealing with the clouds and still dealing with the stagnant weather. Now, not dealing with that along the coast, but in the inland valleys, specifically the inland west side valleys, there's still this air stagnation advisory in effect until 4 a.m. on Monday, as once again, we just haven't had a whole lot of weather to help mix our air so the air gets stale. All those accumulants all those pollutants start to accumulate down at the bottom of the valleys, and that can reduce air quality. Thankfully, that doesn't last for much longer. We have much more active weather that's going to change up our pattern and unstagnate things. But for today, in the Rogue Valley, dealing with the same weather that we've dealt with all week. Fog in the morning, it lifts up as low, thick clouds, and then the clouds will likely hang tough throughout the rest of the day. And then elsewhere, we should see, if there is any fog, it should dissipate rather rapidly, and then we're going to see pretty decent conditions outside today. We'll have clouds increase later in the day, but we'll be noticeably cooler in the 50s on the east side, 50s and 40s in our west side valleys, and we'll be in the 50s along the coast there in Curry County. For tonight, the fog returns back to the west side valleys, back to the east side valleys, as well as it will be a pretty cold night in the 20s on the east side, 20s and 30s in our west side valleys, in the 40s along the coast there in Curry County. And at this point in time, the rain will be just off the coast. You'll see that here on Stormcast. What you can also see on Stormcast is the amount of clouds increasing throughout the rest of the day. But here's just past midnight. All the rain is starting to move ashore associated with our next storm system. And by the time we get into the morning hours of Monday, by the time you're making your morning commute to work or school or wherever you're going to go on your Monday morning, yeah, it's going to be an absolute mess. You're starting to see a little bit of snow mixing in there on the east side as well. We'll take a look at snow levels in a second, but this is much needed rain, and of course we'll clear out on Tuesday. But since we haven't had any rain over the past couple of weeks, even though this is honestly a very pitiful display of rain, it still is anything, and we need anything at this point. At the very least, at least the coast could get upwards of around 1/4 of an inch. Now, there is a snow component to all of this. All the moisture is going to move in overnight into the afternoon on Monday, and those snow levels are going to start out at 5,000 feet, quickly raising up to 7,500 feet. But as far as snow accumulations are concerned, we're not really too concerned at all. The peaks could maybe get a slight dusting. The lower elevations will barely see a trace. And then this is just going to be the beginning of what's going to be a very active stretch of weather as we head into next week. We have another storm system in the Wednesday to Thursday time frame, then another one as we head towards the weekend. So a lot of interesting weather coming on down the pike. Along the coast, you can see all that active weather over the next 7 days. Really a complete 180 from the weather we were dealing with this past week. And of course, you can see all that in Siskiyou County. And what's very interesting about this storm system towards the end of the week, we're going to have very cold air in place. That means snow levels are going to be very low. So it's looking like almost that it's going to be a certainty that we'll see snow up in the Cascades and in the basin. But where it gets really interesting is that it's looking like valley snow is certainly on the table. We're going to have a very long time to adjust this forecast, so please stay tuned.